Welcome to the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Shore Ave Radio.
Welcome back to the Ave Podcast, where we're going to be talking about the first half of the NBA season so far. I'm joined by my friend of the podcast, past guest of the first, I guess, third of the NBA season podcast that we did, first third of the season wrap up, Mr. Anthony Batchelor, the quote-unquote officially the Hoffa of the Durham College basketball program. How you doing today, sir? And congratulations officially. I know I told you that already, but now it's official now. Now you got your plaques, you got your rings and things, all that shit. How you doing?
Nah, man, I appreciate that. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. No doubt, man. How'd you feel, actually, before we get into that? How'd you feel, man, getting that status?
I mean, it's still something in the works. Still kind of sinking in. I haven't really felt it, but, you know, the more I keep playing basketball with you guys every Sunday, I appreciate it even more because I realize that I don't have that type of energy no more. So,
yeah, neither do I. I don't either.
I say back in the day, I ain't that old, but it feels it though. Feels like it.
Yeah. No, that's big though, man. Regardless, that's still big. So you know, you're Hoffa for a reason. So
yeah, appreciate it.
Congratulations, man. But I mean, you know, it's funny you bring up our run there. We both happened to miss the All-Star game.
Right.
The quote unquote, from what we heard, the whack ass All-Star game. So, I mean, what do you think they should do with it at this point? I mean, before we get started on the first half of the season, but like at this point, like what do you think they should do with it at this point? Should we cancel it? Like where should we go from here with this thing? I don't think we should cancel it, but there's got to be a major revamping of or some sort of deep conversation or something. But like, I mean, it's been ridiculous, but it sounded like it was even way worse. For a team to score 200 points, I mean, come on, man. That's beyond stupid.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think one of the main points they said that happened in that game was they said Luka took a half court shot. I think he hit out like the top of the backboard or something like that. Something crazy. Like, I'm like, come on, man. I think at that point now it's just getting out of hand. But what can we do to revamp this? Honestly, I think you got to find a way to get these guys back into the game to where they're actually, you know, they're connected. Where it's not just, I'm just here to show up, man. You know. I'm doing my due diligence as a professional athlete, so I'm not seeing no fines or money taken out of my pocket for not being here and being what I signed up for, right? Almost in the sense where, like, with the play-in, a lot of people, I know some people still don't really agree with the whole play-in thing. I like it. I feel that, you know, with the play-in, a lot of people or a lot of teams, players, they come with the energy like, hey, listen, man, we're not good enough, maybe so to say, to make the AC, but we might be able to squeak in by hopping in on the 10 spot and then trying to make our way in from there because all we need is one, right? So now you have that different kind of energy. It was like, man, we just need one game, and then take it from there. So I feel like the All-Star game is going to need that type of energy. If they got to do it by way of money, man, maybe got to do that, but there's only so much money you can give away. I think maybe they got to try to use a different format or something where they're forced to kind of keep that competitive edge. And maybe, I don't know, that the Rising Stars, like they have that target score. I think they did it a couple times with the All-Star game where they had the target score. If they put that in, I think it might kind of resurrect that competitive edge, but yeah, I'm not really too sure.
And the funny thing is, because I remember for years I didn't watch the rookie game either because I thought it was the same kind of thing. And then at least I watched some of it. I watched a little bit of it on Friday, and it was actually pretty competitive.
Yeah,
it was actually, I would say it was very competitive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So to see the rookie game being taken more seriously than the actual All-Star game, the thing that guys work so hard for the thing that guys basically put on their resume. That's like a great attention thing. Like, hey, I'm Cal C. I'm an 8-time All-Star. Like, that's what you lead with. So that nomination, that nod to get to be able to play in that game is major. It's used for all the clout. Like, financially, you're gonna get more money. You know what I mean? Just for making an All-Star, especially if you're like you're starting in the All-Star game. Like there's all these escalators that hit when you get to this thing. So when you get to the game now, and to be I can't even say half-assing it, because it's not even half-assed anymore. Like quarter-assing it. Like it's to me it's ridiculous. And it's funny because I know one of the reasons you kept hearing is like, you know, these guys are like, they want to get paid more money to play in this game, which again, I'm like, you're fighting all this time. Guys get pissed when they get snubbed. So how are you getting pissed when you get snubbed and then wanting more money to actually play in the game?
Right.
So that to me doesn't make any sense. The other part is too, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, Badge, I've been watching the All-Star Weekend, honestly, especially because of my two older brothers. I've been watching All-Star Weekend since, I want to say something probably about 6-7 years old.
Right.
Like I can remember the All-Star game from like the mid 80s. I could tell you like how Isaiah and Magic used to like control the tempo of all those All-Star games. That's what made the games back in the day great. And honestly, you could just YouTube it. It's not even like me just talking out of my ass. Like you could just YouTube it and watch. Like they just controlled the tempo. You know what I mean? Like as two great point guards. But like even though that kind of went away, and I mean those guys are like transformative generational players, so it's hard to follow their lead. But at the same time, at least the game was still competitive. You know what I mean? Some years are better than others. Like, you know, I'm sure you remember like Iverson, I think back in DC when the game went to overtime and he went crazy, and you know what I mean? And like,
nuts.
Like
he went nuts.
What's that?
Yeah, he went nuts. That was the East comeback.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You had that. You had I mean, there's been some pretty good or the good All-Star games. Like the one, to me, I think one of the recent ones that was pretty legendary was when Kobe was challenging LeBron one-on-one and LeBron passed it off. And everybody went crazy on LeBron for passing it off because they wanted that one-on-one, or at least Kobe wanted that one-on-one matchup, right? Like, right. But those are like the competitive things. But to me, I think I was even mentioning this to you earlier. I'm like, to me, I think it started going down because people try to figure out when it started going down. My own theory is I think when you're the best player in the league, or like one of the at least the faces of the league, like not even if it's more than one person, like you kind of dictate how that moves. And for generations, we never really challenged that, right? Like guys just came and played. And I think to me, the last All-Star game that Kobe played in before he got hurt, before the one in Toronto, right? So I think it was 2013. I had to look this up. In 2013, that was his last like healthy season before he tore his Achilles, right? Mm-hmm. And up until that point, the All-Star games were competitive. Whether it was blowouts or not, at least the first couple of quarters, you knew guys were coming to play, right?
Right.
And after that All-Star game, I think he got hurt. Well, actually, he tore his Achilles. He didn't play in 2014. That one was still semi-competitive. That was still pretty good. And I looked it up. I think Kyrie won MVP of that one. It was still pretty competitive. But 2015 is when you started seeing the shitload of three-point shots and the score getting out of whack. And then ever since that point, there's really only been 2 All-Star games since 2015 that's been, like, watchable, which is 2018 when I think that's when they changed it up and made the 2 leading vote getters of each conference the captains, and they have to, you know, pick their own squad, like a backyard kind of scrimmage, that type of thing. Or black type of scrimmage. So that happened, and okay, fine. Like, you're going to do that. You want to change it up. Okay, but it's because the last 3-4 years it was shit. So they had to try to do something to kind of save it. Because this is the All-Star game is the marquee event. It's basically the NBA's version of the Super Bowl, right? Like that's like the marquee event for the NBA for the season. You know what I mean? So you can't, like, that's like the money maker. That's like the biggest event. You can't mess that up, right? So 2018 was the year, I think, that the first year they did that, it was competitive then. And I think in 2020 when a few weeks after Kobe died, they had the All-Star game and they put the Elam ending and then everybody played hard. I guess it was just to invoke the spirit of Kobe, right? And that game was great. That was like a double overtime or overtime. Like, that All-Star game was really good. But ever since then, it's been shittier and shittier and shittier and shittier, to the point, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, we We didn't even watch it. We hooped instead. We didn't care to watch it. We didn't care to watch it. I came home and I just said, you know what? Let me see what the score is. I didn't even look on the TV. I just looked on my phone. And
I didn't even do that.
You didn't even do that?
Nah.
I scrolled and I saw 104 to 89 at halftime, and I just said, "Yep." I didn't even bother.
Well, I think I found out the next day because I went to work the next morning, and then everyone was talking about it. And I remember someone had mentioned it to me before the game even started on Sunday, and they vividly said, "Listen, I just want a yes or no, or on the or just it's over or under. Just tell me yes or no." He's like, over or under on three. I forgot the number. It was something insane. It was like 359 or something like that. And I'm like, 350. I was like, what are you talking about? What over under is that 359? And he was like, man, it's an All-Star game. I said, the NBA All-Star game. The over under is at 359. He's like, yeah. I said, oh my gosh. Even if I was even thinking about watching this game, I'm really not watching now. That is crazy. That means someone is definitely going to hit over 200 points in.
Right.
At that point, no. Okay, listen. I mean, I'm all for getting buckets and everything, but there's got to be some defense somewhere.
No, it has to be some sort of resistance. And to me, it's like that's what makes the All-Star game what it is, because at a certain point, like, you know, the first quarter, it's the effect of the showmanship kicks in, right? Like, you want to show all your trick passes, fancy dunks, your moves, you know what I mean? Like the handles, you want to break somebody down. Like, you're going to do all your fancy shit, all your tricks. You're going to take up, like, empty your bag the first quarter. You know what I mean? Especially if you're starting. But by like the third or fourth quarter, it's like, no, the 10 best players on the court is going to play. And that shit means something. That's like, because that's usually like a snapshot of where guys are, where they're in their career that season, where it's like, okay, you know, like Shea's playing, you know, Luka's playing, you know, this one's playing, that one's playing. And now it's a real matchup. So it's like, okay, whether I won or lost, it's like, okay, Shea would be like, well, yo, I got Lillard today. Lillard can't say shit to me. I got him in the All-Star game. The whole world saw that I broke him down for 28 points. You know, I scored 15 in the fourth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be something like that. Like, guys could walk away, like, at least that badge of honor. But these guys are looking at it like, you know, I don't want to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to look at on, like, they don't want to get hurt. They don't want to hurt their brand, or they don't want to physically get hurt in the All-Star game. And outside of Kobe getting his nose broke by Dwayne Wade, which was number one, that was born out of competitiveness, and two, Kobe stayed and played and finished the game. Yeah. Right. So outside of that one time, how much debilitating injuries have you seen? Even from you, I know you're younger than me, but like even for you, have you ever seen any Achilles torn? Somebody blew their knee in an All-Star game? Like, when have you ever seen a serious injury? There's never happened. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. No, it's never happened. So when guys keep saying, "Oh, it's the injuries," and you know, like, we don't want to get hurt, it's a long season, and it's like, well, what are you talking about? Who gets hurt in an All-Star game? Right. Like, I don't know, man. It's I like. See, it's generational. It's generational, man. I think with this whole load management talk, and I know a lot of people, like, you know, they talk about certain people, certain teams. Honestly, there's only one team I want to blame for this whole load management thing. It's the San Antonio Spurs. You know, Popovich first started off, but I don't think Popovich did it in a way to where he was trying to hurt the league. He was doing it for the benefit of his own players because he was trying to win. And they were older team at the time. Right. So people forget that. Like, Duncan was like in his 18th, 19th. Like, they're trying to do that to preserve them guys. Right. So then now, by being smart in terms of, okay, I gotta preserve my players so that they're effective in playoffs, because we're trying to win the whole thing. It turned into something it just got out of hand. So now you got teams where, like, I'm gonna sit you because you know what? It's more of because now I gotta protect my asset. I can't be paying you hundreds of millions of dollars and then you're going and somehow you seem to keep getting hurt all the time. So you know what? I'm gonna sit you this amount of games because I heard something from some person that is in the medical world somewhere that said, you know what, if they don't play this many games and it's traveling so forth so many times within a week and you're playing so many games, you know what? You might be able to keep this player for a whole season and they'll be able to make your money back because you got to follow the money. That's all it's about. Yeah. It's all about the money, right? Yeah. So I feel like the importance is shifted in the wrong direction. It's no longer about the game in terms of hooping. Man, it's all about, man, listen, how much money can I generate? And then
what can we do next year after that? Because at the end of the day, I don't think these owners really care about the players. Yeah. And now you also see the power kind of shifting with the players as well, where they're like, well, I make you money, so you're gonna make sure I'm gonna make sure that you pay me money. So it's almost like it's an ongoing battle.
Yeah.
And I think until they figure that out, it's gonna be the same thing. I mean, we got players now coming in where, you know, the game is now all about the three ball, and, you know, we can thank Steph for that. I mean, mind you, I'm not hating on him for that.
No.
He's completely molded the game into, you know, behind the 3-point line now. And it's amazing what he's done, because a lot of people didn't believe in him, especially with those ankle injuries that he got early in the season.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people were questioning, man, how they gonna have this guy? They're gonna draft him over and try to have him play over Monta Ellis? Man, that's crazy. But, you know, with him, he's a walking testimony. Like he proved everybody wrong. And he showed out Minnesota. I still can't believe Minnesota did that, but still, you know, he basically said, no, I'm that guy, you know. And for him to, you know, completely shift the whole game to where it is now, I mean, it's amazing. You know, like LeBron is the face of the league, but I feel like Steph Curry, man, he's done so much where the game is at now. He doesn't get enough credit, because now we're all like, how many people you see nowadays in the gyms? They're coming in, they're just jacking up threes. I don't think anybody tries to go to the hole anymore. Yeah. No one's trying to get contact, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. I mean, until they figure this out, they figure the money out. Maybe when this new TV rights deal comes through, maybe they'll be able to figure it out.
But the thing is, too, even with that new deal coming in, like, I think this hurts it, right? Because like if this, well, I'm saying because, and it's weird because I saw this the news, I think today, where they said that the All-Star game actually viewed was a 20% increase from last year, which I don't understand how that's even possible.
I'm still off of that.
Yeah, I don't even know if I believe that. Like, it doesn't even make sense. But that's according to the Nielsen rates and all the all the different type of apps and all that stuff that kicks in. Like, it was actually 20%. I don't even know how that's even possible. But I think part of it is, I think because again, it's the marquee event. If I'm like, if you're trying to sell it to me and I'm Amazon, why would I want to give you $500 million to put the All-Star game on my app when I know that it's going to be played like shit?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, or the All-Star weekend. It's like, I'm going to be paying you like $1 billion, and it's like, and these guys don't want to play in it. Like, why would I want to do that?
So like, you know what I think it is? I think it might just be our generation that's saying that.
Yeah, maybe. And you know what? There's some truth to that, because as much as you want to blame the players, it's a generational thing, to your point, because you look at all the other sports, all their All-Star games are shit too. Like you see the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl now is like cornhole and skateboarding and friggin' tug of war and macrame. It's like it's a whole bunch of stupidness right now. Hockey's terrible. Like it's all bad. So maybe this is a generational thing. Nobody gives a shit about the All-Star games, period, which doesn't make any sense.
I don't even think the players care. Because you know, more so for the players, it's more so it's media for them, right? So like, man, I don't want to go to this stuff, man. I just want to let me just go get on the court, go put up a couple shots, and get ready to get up out here, go maybe do a quick vacation, and come back and let's start the second season off, and let's get ready to playoffs, because that's what it really is. Second half of the season comes, and like, listen, we gotta start worrying about the season now, or we got to start getting in this rhythm to prepare for the playoffs, because we're trying to make a deep run. It's no more of this. Oh, you know, we're just gonna kind of coast and then get ready, trying to get the votes, and then from there, that's when we start getting serious. It's crazy, man. I mean, who's to say what happens next? Like Dallas, they can turn it around. I'm more so curious to see how Milwaukee does, but also Philadelphia with no Joel Embiid. Mm-hmm. And I know I've been bagging on that guy for a long time. You've been trying to put me on this guy Joel for a long time. I'm like, I don't see it, man. And then this year he finally showed up, and then he got hurt. I'm still kind of questioning the fact that why this guy doesn't play in Denver. That's really questionable.
It's really weird.
We'll leave that one alone, though.
Yeah, I can't even defend that one. But even before we move off the All-Star game for a second, I mean, again, I understand they want to gear up for the second. They're playing 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes. Like, what are they playing 15 minutes for some of these guys? I don't get it, man. I've never seen players get burned out after playing in the All-Star game either. Like, none of the reasons I'm hearing make any sense. It historically just doesn't match up, especially when guys are playing hard. Sometimes for some of these guys, it actually made them play better going into the second half of the season. Right. So I don't get this, man. Like, it is. But like I said, it could be generational because none of these guys want in any sport they don't want to play in this game. Like, it isn't. I'm so confused by it, man.
You know what? I'm taking a look at this box score right now. Durant played 25 minutes. LeBron only played 14. Jokic only played 23. Doncic played 23. Shea played 28 minutes. Okay. See, now this is a little bit different for me because I wouldn't be playing Shea. If I was OKC, I'd be like, hey, don't be playing this guy more than 20 minutes.
Right.
Or 15. I'm like, now this is where I'm like, okay, I need this guy. I don't want anything to happen. Knock on wood. 28 minutes, that's a full game, man. I don't know if I'd be playing that game. Like that's kind of ridiculous. But the one that really stands out to me is Karl Anthony Towns scored 50 points.
Who scored? Yeah, I know. And he had like 30 something in the fourth.
What?
Yeah, but again, nobody played defense. But to dispute that point though about Shea playing 28 minutes, his last game prior to Sunday was Wednesday. And I know you have all these commitments and they're going to parties and all that stuff and all that, but like your game was Wednesday night. You had a 4-day break until Sunday night, and then you don't play again until Thursday.
Still not playing them 20 minutes. I'm still saying I don't want my guy playing more than 20 minutes. Get up at least. Break it up at least. Give him 4 minutes. Give him 4 minutes in the first, 4 minutes in the second, 4 minutes in the third and the fourth. I don't want this guy playing that amount of time because you know what? What if, what I'm saying, again, knock on wood, it's just you have that one situation that takes place, especially for a team like OKC, very young, and these guys are thriving right now. These guys are definitely going to the playoffs, right? I don't think I want to take that chance to where now all of a sudden something does happen, and my main guy, my star player, my superstar, I'm going to give him superstar status right now.
No. I think that's a foregone conclusion.
I'm saying, I don't think I want to take the chance and put him in a situation where the possibility of the unfortunate incident could happen.
Right, but then you can say the same thing for everybody else then.
You could. Well, see, for Karl Anthony Towns, 28 minutes, sometimes I watch that game, man, like, mind you, he dropped that 60 against Charlotte and they lost. But for a lot of these games, he don't look like he want to be there. That's Ant's team, right? So, yeah. And Ant has finally found a way to make it work with Rudy Gobert. Because before, when Rudy got there, they didn't seem to have it figured out. And I was like, man, this is not going to work. This actually looks bad. And it was actually Karl Anthony Towns as the second guy. But now it looks like it's been reversed to where Ant-Man is the first. And it seems like, Rudy he's not the second guy, but he is the second guy. And Karl Anthony Towns, he's just there. Like, I think we're so used to seeing Karl Anthony Towns be that guy. Like, all of a sudden, the way he comes off on some of these games is like, man, does he need to get traded? Because I don't think he fits with the team anymore. So, for Karl Anthony Towns playing 28 minutes in the All-Star game, I would say, you know what? I need this guy to get it together. So play him. Yeah. Because I don't think it'll be that detrimental if he went down.
But again, but to my point though, like, I don't think historically who goes down in injuries in the All-Star game. It's so rare. It almost never happens. Like,
true.
This was the 73rd All-Star game. I'm not gonna say in the entire history there's only one injury. I think there's been some guys who had maybe a pulled calf or something here and there. But again, it's probably like 1%. You know what I mean? Like, it's to me, like I said again, man, for such a marquee event, and for the fact that guys fight so hard to be an All-Star, especially to get the accolade and the money that comes with it, just play. And again, like, we're just asking you not to shoot. Like, again, those 168 3-pointers, dog. Like that's like, come on, man. Like, listen, I know what Steph did. It's 168. You got like five shots from half court. Like, come on, man. Like, it's nonsense.
Steph shot the same amount of threes he shoots in a regular game. shot 4 for 13.
That's crazy. Like, come on, man. Like, nah. Everything about that is just, they got to fix it though. They really got to fix it. Because like
Let me ask you this question before you continue on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton. He played 27 minutes. This guy was just on a minutes restriction. How is he playing 27 minutes?
I mean, he's at home.
Come on, man. I understand it, man. But okay, listen. You can't complain 1 minute. Hey, listen, I gotta make sure my players are right. Again, Indiana, they're on pace to go into the playoffs. My man just had an injury that actually looked pretty scary when he actually suffered it.
Yeah.
I thought he would have been out longer, but he came back earlier or on time, if anything. And now he just came off a minutes restriction, and then you play him that many minutes in an all-star game? Listen, this game is way too quick, and these players are getting way too strong now. It's not like back in the day where, okay, you know what? The all-star game was way more competitive. The game was a little bit slower, though. Now it's like you're really exhausting yourself. So I guess in a way you can say the chances of experiencing injury is actually probably higher than it would have been years prior. So maybe there should be a concern moving forward. I can maybe I retract some of the statements that I said from before, where owners are like, you know what? No, my players do need the rest. Yes, in a way they do, but sports science is different. You can take care of that. That's more so you better be taking care of your players. Right. I mean, they're grown adults. I can't tell these guys don't be going out all night or whatever it is you do, your little escapades, you know what I'm saying, the night before a game. Please be serious. You know what I'm saying? That's up for you to actually take that seriously. But then, you come into a game the next day or next night, and then you play however you play. I hope it's for the benefit of the team for you to get that win. Some people are kind of there with a different mentality. Some people are there to win. Some people are there to just collect the paycheck. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? And that's what hurt. And that's what's hurting. That's what's hurting the game today. Like KD, he wants to hoop.
Right.
And you got other people. Wiggins. We'll use Wiggins.
Oh man, here you go. You know what? You could even use Shea because and this guy I'm on Team Shea. He's a hooper though. Fully. No. He is a hooper, and he's looking at the stats of the All-Star game, and yeah, he's you know what it is. But I remember last year he was complaining about, we need to what are they paying us? They need to pay us more, and I'm like, listen, I love Shea. But I'm like, dude, this is your first All-Star game. How are you complaining? Like, you just got here. Like, man,
listen, you know what I'll say to that? You making USD. You already get more money than you should be anyway. Take an exchange. It's all good. You get enough money anyways. It's all going to get the tax at the end of the day. Man, get out of here with
that. Well, you know what? Let's move off the All-Star game a little bit. Let's stay with Shea and the Thunder and let's move a little bit to the Wolves. But, I guess to get into some of the questions here, can the Wolves or the Thunder make a real run in the playoffs this year?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe Minnesota can make a deeper run than OKC, just more so.
I do too.
On experience.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot of experience on Minnesota in comparison to OKC. OKC just picked up Gordon Hayward, so that's a little bit of experience, but I don't think Gordon Hayward has really been in the playoffs like that. So
not for a while, no.
Right. So I don't know how much that could make a difference for them, but with Minnesota, given that they have a legit center compared to OKC, that I think will be the difference. And then you have a legit point guard compared to Shea running the point on OKC. I think that's where the difference is going to be, because now you got to be able to play the half court set as opposed to the whole fast break game. The game's going to slow down. So if you can't get buckets on a half court set, then that's going to be pretty hard. But I feel that OKC can be successful. I feel that they could get out of the first round for sure. But then again, in the West, we never know what can happen, man. That eighth eighth place team could easily really be a third or fourth place team.
It's funny to me because I'm with you. I think Soda can go a little bit further than the Thunder. But if I'm a veteran team that's been through these playoff wars and I still have some energy or some legs left, like say the Lakers, for example. Like if I'm a veteran team like the Lakers, I don't necessarily mind meeting either one of these teams, especially the Thunder because of the lack of playoff experience outside of SGA. But like, and honestly, and Minnesota because, just to be quite frankly, like the decision making, and not so much from Conley because Conley's a playoff vet and a veteran at this stage. Like but I'm looking at Cat. Because I don't think Ant-Man's a problem. I'm not worried about him. I think he'll be fine, and he has been fine in the couple of years that he's been in against I think Memphis 2 years ago and Denver last year in the first round of the playoffs. Like he balled out. Like there wasn't any issue with him regarding that. Shot selection was probably somewhat of an issue at certain points, but for the most part, like he's a dog. Like it's gonna be hard to deny him, but like. Cat, I'm more nervous if the ball's in Cat's hands because, and it's gonna be in his hands a good amount. You know what I mean? But is he for me? Is he gonna stay disciplined defensively, and not get in foul trouble? Because that's like the biggest thing with him. Every playoff series, he gets all these stupid fouls, and you're like, it's just weird. You know what I mean? And I'm like, for a guy that's like a multiple time All-Star, it's weird to have this conversation about him about decision making. It's weird, like. Like the last 2 years, to me, it really exposed him in terms of like just where his IQ was at ball wise. Like it just didn't make sense to me. Some games he come out, he's a monster, 30-something points, 18 boards. The next game he's got like 4 fouls in the first half, and it's like some of the stupidest fouls too. It's not like the ref was, being a jerk. It's like no, like dude, like what are you doing? Like you're basically a vet now. Like how are you still making these mental mistakes?
I think the difference this year will probably be just like you said. On top of what you mentioned is the IQ, the knucklehead movements, right? With Karl Anthony Towns last year, disappeared, foul trouble. We're watching these games. We're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on with this guy? I don't know how this guy's not locked in. You know what I'm saying? Minnesota they haven't been in the playoffs in a minute. Now you're here. But now you're disappearing. Why is that? But I would not put it solely on Karl Anthony Towns, though, because you got somebody to replace him in Kyle Anderson, who defensively can be that guy and necessarily doesn't have to take shots. So now you just got to find a place out elsewhere. And now when you have knucklehead movements where people are punching walls and breaking the wrist, featherweight's finest, right, or one of featherweight's finest, we can't have that because he's also an integral piece in Jaden McDaniels. We can't have that, man.
Right.
So now this year, I think coming up, him being a 3-and-D guy, I think their mindsets might be a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure Conley's on these guys, kind of telling them like, listen, man, guys, we got to start getting mentally ready now because it's not we haven't been here enough times where we can just turn it on like that. So I think now moving forward, I think especially for McDaniels, he's been kind of off and on this year, but I feel like he will be more relied on come playoff time because of the disappearing acts from Cat.
Right.
And I think that would take the pressure off of him to where, okay, we're not going to rely on you too tough. We're kind of going to throw some of this another way. I mean, Ant's going to be Ant. Rudy, he'll get his. Conley, I feel like he'll take another piece of that role where it's like, we're going to need you a little bit more offensively. But when you see Cat has opportunity, give it to him. And then let's see what happens with that. And let's kind of feed off that energy. And hopefully he can take away. He can roll with it. And I think that it'll be different for Cat instead of this. Somehow I think Cat still thinks he's that guy on that team. And I think that pressure it's unnecessary pressure that he's putting on himself.
And he's not at this stage.
Right.
He's not.
Right.
He's not built that way. He's just not, and it's okay. You know what I mean? Like I think he just has to accept the role. Like if he's locked in, then I think Minnesota becomes dangerous. But and they're having a great regular season so far. I'm it's great to watch them play. But at this stage, I'm kind of like, I'm looking at the playoffs and I'm looking at him like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna finally, is his maturity finally gonna match the amount of years he's been in the league, or is we gonna see the same shit where it's like he's getting fouled out in the third quarter? You know what I'm saying? Or they can't play him in the fourth quarter because he has 5 fouls after 3 quarters. You know what I mean? Like, right. I'm curious to see. But the good thing about them is like, they're defensively, it's like they're so big and so long. You know what I'm saying? Like it's they're going to be a problem, man. Like, because I mean, defense travels, right? Like that translates to the playoffs. The game is going to slow down at some point, right? So it's not going to be this totally, you know, like run and gun type style that we've been seeing for the last few years on the regular season. You know, in the playoffs, it's gonna slow down again. Right. So their defense travels. So I think that's the sticking point with them that I think is gonna be huge. But like I said, and then on the Thunder side, it's like they're young, they're so inexperienced. But you know, I'm that believer of like the team shadows the mindset of the leader. And to me, Shea's one of the most level-headed players in the game right now, even at this stage, right? Yeah. And he's been through, you know, he's at least been through a couple of playoff series. I think last fall, what happened with Team Canada, I think for him is huge. You know what I mean? And for people, I don't think you can like shove that aside, because you saw what that did to Steve Nash when he made the Olympics, and then ever since then, like, that was it. Like, he became an all-star and a superstar, like, after that. Like, he carried that with him for the rest of his career. And I think that's already – I mean, Shea was already doing it anyway, but I think just those playoff chops and those big game, big-time moments and, you know, pressurized situations on a major stage, I think he's so level-headed. I think if he comes into playoff series with that mindset, I think the team kind of follows it. Now, mind you, of course, there's going to be nerves, especially the first game or so. You know what I mean? And defense are going to key in on them because now you have 2 weeks to prepare for one player. But with that said, like, the way he gets his points, it's so within the flow of the offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so within the flow of the offense. It's so easy for him that I think, like, if he just keeps his head leveled, I think the team follows him. And I think from there, that's when it can get interesting. They still got to find somebody in the buyout market, at least as the big. You can't have Chet being the center for this team. Then that's not going to work well.
Right. I mean, Chet holds his own against Jokic, though. Shockingly,
he plays good, but I'm just saying, playoffs is a whole different animal, man. Right. You know what I mean? Especially size, because all it takes is for him to get into. He's their only resistance, and if he gets into any type of foul trouble, say they meet, not even Denver, say they meet the Lakers, he gets 2 quick fouls. You know, the refs are gonna lean on, you know, the calls are gonna lean towards the superstars. So if he's guarding Anthony Davis, 2 quick fouls, and all of a sudden they have no size inside. You know what I mean? That changes everything.
But well, I think you give him. We gotta hope that AD actually is that guy that shows up, though. Mind you, the last few handful of games, his assists have been well over three assists. Like, he averages. I think he usually averages 3 assists. I'm not too sure what the numbers on that, but the last couple games he's been, I think, over 5.
Yeah. So
he's now. It seems that I don't know if LeBron is kind of saying, "Listen, I want you to kind of set up the offense." Before it was questionable. It was kind of like, LeBron, are you ready to give up the keys and just kind of let someone else take over? Because listen, man, LeBron, you're doing some things, but you're slowing down now. Yeah, it's time, man. You gotta let somebody take over, and I think AD has to be that guy, because we're not seeing the AD that we were expecting. We're not seeing AD from New Orleans. You know, that AD was killing, and then he came to LA, showed some flashes. Usually, you see more when LeBron kind of goes down or he's injured, and then he really takes over. But I think it's one of those things where LeBron's kind of got to be the second guy, which I don't think he will ever be used to, but it's kind of needed. Yeah. So if you get AD that shows up against OKC, OKC's gonna have a problem for sure.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. They got to find a big on the buyout market. That's I'm surprised they didn't trade for. I know people were saying like Andre Drummond, because you don't need a guy to start with Chet. You just need somebody to back him up, and just even if it's for 6 fouls, they just need size. So I don't know
Right.
who's available on the market right now, but like they're gonna have to try to get somebody. I don't know what the buyout market is just yet, but they gotta get size. Speaking of things being fixed, can Doc still fix the Bucks?
I don't think that's an issue that Doc can fix. I think that's on management. The way that team is set up, it doesn't go. They have Jay Crowder still. They lost PJ Tucker from before, and then they traded for Dame Lillard and got rid of Drew Holiday. It doesn't really make sense. It didn't make sense when they did it. It looks good on paper, but when we're really looking at the grand scheme of things, how does that work with two ball dominant players? And the crazy thing about it is, the Milwaukee Bucks, when they played from before before Dame showed up, Giannis would take over for the first 3.5 quarters, but the one that would close out the games was Middleton, exactly. And now you've completely taken that role away from him. And unfortunately, now he's got all these injuries. So I don't think the roles are completely they're mixed up. No one knows what they want to do. Dame doesn't want to step on toes, so he's like, here, Giannis, you take over. Giannis is like, no, we're not gonna ride off of me. I want you to finish it because that's what you do. I want the Dame from Portland to do the same thing over here in Milwaukee. I don't know if it's humility or if more of one of those, nah, listen, man, I need you to do this because I'm not doing it. Because let's be real, I don't think Giannis wants to be at the free throw line at the end of the game.
No, not to that extent.
Right? So it's one of those things where like, okay, well, Middleton's not here, so yeah, I'm not going to say it, but I don't want the ball in my hand. So give it to Dame. I want Dame to have it. And maybe Dame's just like, nah, it's too early for me to be taking over like this. And maybe Doc might be able to go ahead and say, listen, at the end of games, this is what's going to happen. We're going to look at you to be Dame to be the first option, and Giannis, you're going to be the second option. Are there any problems? If they are, speak now, and we'll figure it out. Now, they had a whole week. I would say give them another 10, 15 games.
Yeah,
Mind
I
you,
agree.
there's maybe 26 games left for the second half. I say within the 10, 15 game stretch, we might see a different team. So I wouldn't completely count them out, but defensively, they're terrible. So I don't see them going too deep.
Well, they're better now with Doc than they were before. They're more like the middle of the pack now. So and again, like, I guess to answer my own question, I would say yes and no if he can fix the Bucks, because defense is getting better. It's not top 10 or whatever it was, but it's better than when it was before Adrian Griffin got let go, right? At the same time, though, I hate to rehash Doc's playoff failures, man. I really do, but you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it, man. And I think
Is that really his fault though?
the playoff failures,
Yeah.
when it happens that much, you got to take some responsibility. I know some of it is bad luck, some of it is injuries, but some of it is just plain. It's just plain flaming out. Like even last year with when they're up 3-2 on Boston, like for your two top players to basically just play the game like they're playing, I don't know, like the Utah Jazz in January, with no intensity, especially for a closeout game at home. Like there's too many times, like, where that shit's been on Doc's resumes. Too many times where his team's flamed out. Like I mentioned this on our previous pod, but I'm like, even the year that they won the title, like when Boston won the title in 2008, they played 26 out of a possible 28 games. They went 16-10 in the playoffs that year. So they were far from dominant, even though they were far and away the best team in the league that year. They struggled through the playoffs. Like they barely got through. You know what I'm saying? Like 26 out of 28. That's the maximum games you can play is 28 games. They played 26 out of them. Like how is that even possible? You know what I mean? So for me, it's like I'm like, you can't unsee those things, and I'm like, and I want to give them a bly a little bit because you're coming in halfway through the year. You don't have all your you don't even have like the guys you want beside you on the bench as like your own coaching staff and stuff. You're basically taking Griffins, right? So you may keep 1 or 2 guys, you may get your own guys in. So I get that. You know what I mean? Like you got to have at least a year or 2 to be able to like have it your way. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm kind of like, okay, but you're also the quote unquote top 15 coach of all time. You like, you know, there's been coaches that's come in halfway through the year and steered the ship properly. Like the last guy was Tyronn Lue, right? In 2016. Took the job over from David Blatt. They ended up winning a title. Right? So, like, if he's a top 15 coach, I'm not saying you got to win the title, but, I mean, you better be in the conference final at the very least.
Oh, man. Oh, man, I don't know if that's going to happen.
I'm just saying, like, again, like I said, and the thing is, Milwaukee's in a weird position because you have to give him time just because you let him go. Like, say they flame out terribly and they go out in the first round. You got to stick with Doc, not just because of the contract he signed, but you let him go, you're going to be paying 4 coaches.
4?
Yeah.
Is that what they're on right now?
Well, because they're paying 3 right now because they're still, well, obviously they got to pay all of Griffin's money, and then they're still paying at least a year or 2 left from Budenholzer's contract.
Right.
So you got to stick this out with Doc, but I'm just saying at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to hear like, hey man, you know, I got here halfway through the year, I still need something. I don't want to hear that shit. You're a top 15 coach, right? Historically, right? Get to the conference final. Get to the conference final. You got Dame, you got Giannis, you got the core of a championship team. I know Middleton has injury history, but implement a way where he can be the second option in, you know, at the last 2 minutes of a game. You know what I mean? Where if the ball goes to him, like, you're okay with that decision too. You know what I mean? Where, you know, so you got to figure something out. But I'm just saying, like, he doesn't have a lot of excuses left. I'm still shocked that he got the job the way he did. But it is what it is. It's over with. You can't do nothing about it. But at the same time, I'm like, you can't tell me that, like, hey, man, they lost in the first round. Well, that's okay because Doc got in that. Nah, I don't want to hear that shit. Yeah. I don't want to hear that. Who's your sleeper team? Or who do you think is your sleeper team or teams in the last 2 months, this last 2 months of the season?
Sleeper team?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, that's tough. A sleeper team, I would say Cleveland. I don't think a lot of people are talking about these guys.
Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna steal that one too. That's actually a good one. I had another team in mind. I'll tell you in a second, but no, that's a good one. Keep going though. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting about them actually.
They had 2 players that were out. 2 of their main core guys. They had Mobley that was out, ended up having like cleanup surgery or something like that, and then Darius Garland with the facial fracture. Yeah. So, like, for them to still be in second place right now, oh man, that I think they're definitely probably the biggest sleeper team right now. They're not getting enough respect. Yeah, I would definitely give it to them.
That's a good one. Fuck, I didn't even think. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm. You know what? I have to admit, like, I don't get me wrong. I have watched Cleveland games, but I do keep forgetting about them. I don't know why I do for some reason this year. Because Mitchell's playing well. He's actually being the player that he's actually realizing the maturity in his game now. Because he's playmaking a little bit more. He's more efficient. He's been playing really well this year. Yeah, you're right. That's a damn good pick. The sleeper team I was thinking of was the Pacers. I don't know if you want to call them a sleeper team, just because I'm thinking with Siakam coming there, you know, we all know it's going to take some pressure off of Halliburton. But defensively, they're like Jose Calderon in the mid-2000s. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like him being there with the playoff experience and everything else, and defensively, still a good defensive player. I think that kind of helps them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And to have that second star there, like, I think it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna match up, especially with with Benny Mathurin. Like, I figure now with Hield being gone, like, I have a feeling like he's going to now level up a little bit more in the second half of the season because he kind of had a bit of a sophomore slump to start this season.
Yeah, but we can't forget about Neesmith though, man. That guy's been hooping too though.
Oh, for sure. They're a nice team, man. Like they're a nice team, and I just feel like they're gonna make a run where you're gonna be like, whoa, where do these guys come from? Like it wouldn't surprise me. The other team in the West, I had two teams. The other team in the West, I don't even know if you really call them a sleeper just based on their history. But I'm just talking based on this season. A sleeper team for me, I think for them just based on where they are in the standings, I think is Golden State. And again, that's only if Kerr still commits to some of the younger guys on the roster like Kuminga and I can't pronounce the kid's name.
Pradinsky,
yeah, and Price Davis, and if he gets Moody off the bench, like I think if he starts leaning on those guys more, like how he was supposed to be leaning on them from last year, Kuminga did the whole thing where like the closed mouth don't get fed. He opened his mouth. He's been talking like, "Yo, play me now." Kerr's holding me back. Like he is not playing around. Like this year he's like, "Yo, either trade me or play me. Either do one of the two, but I ain't staying quiet no more." And he's seen the results of it. Like he's basically been playing really well. And to me, this is why I kept saying last year that I felt like I think Kerr didn't do a great job coaching last year, because I thought, especially in the Lakers series, I couldn't understand why Kuminga and Moody were getting like DNP CDs. Like I couldn't understand it. They could barely get off the bench in the Lakers series where they needed athleticism and young legs.
Yeah. They
were getting ran out of the gym, and I'm like, they keep playing Clay 35 minutes. Like, why are they playing Kuminga? Like, Kuminga needs to be in this series. Like, I remember me and Curtis, like Big Brother Curtis on the pod, like we were going crazy like every night watching that series. Cause we're like, why the f is Kuminga not playing?
Yeah.
So now that he's actually playing, and like, I mean, to me, it's not a coincidence. That they need the youth. They need some of their younger legs. They've won 9 of the last 11 games, and the way Curry's been playing, he's been more facilitating too.
Yeah, because I think Draymond hasn't really been playing his heavy minutes as he usually does.
Right.
I think now they're looking. I think as they're trying to get more shots to these younger guys, it's kind of like Chris Paul's not here yet or not back yet. So right. I think Steph is now going back to let me distribute. But that I feel that's helped him ease back into his offensive game in terms of scoring, because he wasn't as electric as he usually is. Yeah. But the last couple games, this win streak here, he's been looking solid. And then the move with Klay Thompson, the moment that they said he was coming off the bench, I remember telling one of my boys, I said, man, if you don't make the bet that he about to drop some points, you're a fool. And they're like, well, I said, listen, man, you're putting him on a unit where now he doesn't have to share. His job is now to score. So he doesn't have to think in the back of his mind about anything. It's just, just score. I think went off for like 30-something points.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see how he does in the second game. I feel it'll be the same thing. And I hope that actually he embraces that role, Alpha coming off the bench, and Kerr doesn't put him back in the starting lineup. Because if that happens, you're absolutely right. I think Golden State moves up.
Yeah.
And if they don't move up, they're gonna give people a problem, especially in the play-in, if they don't make it into that top 6.
Yeah, but I can see them like moving up a few spots, just because, like I said again, like if they're gonna utilize the youth finally, and then lean on the vets a little bit more in the playoffs, you know what I mean? Like in terms of clutch situations, then it's like that's the balance. Like to me, that's why like when they quit on some of those guys early, like like Wiseman and stuff, and I know Wiseman's struggling in Detroit too, but like. To me, it made no sense that he wasn't like he was just too loyal. Kerr was too loyal to Clay and those guys, and it's like now he's finally realizing like, okay, I can't lean on these guys the same way. It's nice to see that Kuminga's finally playing. Like it's nice to watch. Like it's nice to watch. Like Moody just now needs to be another guy that gets time too, but it's about time. Like it's honestly like it's long overdue. I thought that was hurting the team for the longest while. Before we get to our award, like our updated version of the of our NBA awards for the first half of the season at least, or the second third of the season at least at this point, because there's only like 30 games left, I guess. So we're basically almost 2/3 of the season done. regular season wise. Anyway, the Knicks, bro. The Knicks. There's no question, just the Knicks.
Oh man, all I gotta say is I feel bad that Julius Randle he succumbed to that injury.
I know.
Bad timing.
I know.
But other than that, if Julius comes back and doesn't have to go through the surgery, and he's able to play the same type of basketball, at least coming back from this injury, the Knicks are going to be a problem too.
Yeah.
And then we haven't even mentioned Mitchell Robinson. Apparently, he just got rid of the boot. So, I mean, I don't expect to see him back anytime soon. But Hardenstein been hoping, but he been hoping for Clipper days though. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He just wasn't getting a lot of minutes.
Yeah. Sometimes guys just need the time, man. That's all they need. But he came out of nowhere. First, is he the first white guy named Isaiah?
I didn't even think of that. Damn. Never even thought about that. You might be right, actually.
It's like a white guy being named Leroy. I've never seen that before. It's crazy.
Yeah, he in a perfect place for that, too. Here in New York. So, them cats, they're probably like, hey, yo, Zach, what up? Yo, what up, son?
But yeah, he's been great this year, man. Holy crap. Like, he's been amazing this year. Like, if honestly, if Mitchell Robinson comes back at this point, next year we'll start him, but for the rest of the season, I think I'm running with Hartenstein. Like, you have to.
Yeah, so, but then you got to pay him though. Is this a contract year for him?
I'll check. But honestly, I'm happy to see that they're doing well though, and I'm really happy you're happy for Randall. I mean, sorry, you feel sorry for Randall. I'm really happy for Brunson because I think he's finally taking his rightful place as like the best player on the team. They just need to get health. With all the moves they've made, because New York historically in the last, especially this century, has not won much. So the fact that they won the trade deadline, they got a bunch of picks, a bunch of players to fill this roster the way that Thibodeau wants to see it. And outside of OKC, they have the most first round picks out of any team, so they can make trades to like get that third star. If I'm them, I'm not rushing to get the third star right away necessarily. Right. I'm waiting for the right one to come along. I'm not going to rush the process to be like, we got to get one this summer. I'm waiting to see which star gets disgruntled or which team is struggling. We need to make a move, and then we're going to go from there. And I'm going to take my time with that. I know everybody keeps saying Donovan Mitchell. I'm looking at, even if you don't get the third star right away, if I'm them this summer, I mean, they got a lot of 6'5" guards, though, because I'm thinking, like, I would go after somebody like this DeJounte.
Nah. I think DiVincenzo fills that slot just fine.
Yeah, they got a lot of like guards at that height right now, so that's the only thing. But like, I'm just saying they don't have to get a third star right now. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think I'd pull the trigger right now.
On who?
I would actually make the move. I would probably get rid of. Before Randall got hurt, Randall was playing basketball. He was hooping.
Yeah.
He definitely would be the guy I would move first. And
you would move him. You wouldn't even get a third star. You would just try to move him.
No, I would try to get a third star for sure. But I would move him. I would move him for Cat. I feel that Cat would definitely fit well in that system. The only problem is
he can't handle that media.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, he definitely would handle that. No, he's from Jersey, so he should be all right.
Yeah.
He's from Jersey. He should know. He should know better. He knows good and well, man. I can't be going up in here acting a fool, man. I gotta be on my P's and Q's. But the only problem with him is he's gonna be under Thibodeau's system, and Thibodeau wants you to play. He wants you to play defense. So he's gonna have to be that same guy from when he first came in the league, blocking shots, getting boards. The points might have to drop a little bit, and then you have OG. He's gonna have to give up some points. He's gonna have to give up some shots, and he wanted a bigger role. So what do? Right now, it's crazy you mentioned the Knicks, man. Anybody that thought that trade was crazy, they're a damn fool, and it should have been evident from the moment that. Man, the Knicks got they got so better. They got so much better. It's crazy. Like, you got your point guard, you got your shooting guard still kind of questionable, but honestly, I believe in DiVincenzo because he's low maintenance. He doesn't demand a lot. but he'll give you what you need, even on the defensive side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you got OG on the small position. Randall, who I feel that can be moved. And then you got Hartenstein on the center. And then now you got people that can fill in the slot behind the reserve role.
You got Bogdanovich coming off the bench.
Man, I forgot about Bogdanovich. Man, another shooter. Jeez. Man, if New York doesn't do it this year, they better be talking about them next year. And trust me, that's hard for me to say.
I know. I know. Believe me. And that's the thing too. It's like when you look at a lot of their players are playoff tested, man. You know, from a champion like OG being on the Raptors to just long playoff runs. Like, you know, Brunson has been on a long playoff run. Randall's been through some playoff games. DiVincenzo's been on some playoff runs. You know what I mean? Bogdanovich, throughout all the veteran teams, has been through the playoffs. Like, they got so much guys that's been through the wars. Alex Burks, you know what I mean? Like a guy coming off the bench. He's an NBA vet. Like, they're it's almost like I was talking to my a friend of mine who's a Knicks fan, and we were talking about this on the weekend actually, and they're like that one Kawhi move away from being like, oh shit, like, oh boy. You know what I mean? Like, they're just, I don't know who that player is right now. It's not coming to me yet. But like, they're that one guy away. You know what I mean? Because as much as I like Randall, as much as I love Brunson, you know, I guess the playoffs will prove it to see. Like, is Brunson really that? Like, you see that Jimmy Butler where it's like, I'm good in the regular season, but I'm that guy in the playoffs. You know what I mean? If he's like that, then leave the team where it is and just try to fill the holes where you may. But like, if it turns out like they're not quite those guys, then it's like they got to fill it with that superstar. Who was that person? I don't know, but like they got to figure it out.
What about Paul George?
That's a good one. I don't see Paul George leaving the Clippers though, but that would be a good one.
Listen, he hasn't signed that extension yet. Right now, I say, if you're not signing, what are you waiting for? That's my question.
I mean,
Kawhi signed his. Why is he waiting?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with him too is like you don't have to worry about the money. No, Bomber's gonna pay it. Bomber don't care. Bomber's moving into that new arena, man. He wants all the stars he can get. Like the Clippers are gonna be a problem too, especially if you know they can retain George. But like I don't see money being the issue. Is whether he wants to stay in LA. It doesn't seem like he's complaining about being at home. You know what I mean? Like if they could go on a lengthy run and everybody could stay healthy. I mean, shit. We haven't spoken about Kawhi, but I think that's like the sleeper thing of the season, at least player-wise, is that guy's back. He's 110% back. He's not missing games, and he's under the radar. That's a scary proposition. If he gets to the playoffs healthy, Batch, Lord help the playoffs. Lord help the Western Conference.
But did you lose faith in him?
No, hell no. No. Hell no. Not at all.
I find it hard. See, I wouldn't even call him a sleeper because I'm like, man, listen.
No, he's that dude. Yeah. We know
that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, sleeper player right now?
I'm only saying sleeper player just because we're hearing about all the MVP candidates. Everybody knows that he's been balling, but like, dude, like he hasn't missed any games. He's been healthy. He looks like the Kawhi. It's funny. People are comparing the Kawhi when he was on the Raptors. I actually think he's looking closer to the Kawhi before he got hurt with the Spurs.
With the Spurs? Oh, yeah.
Like that Kawhi where you're like, oh, shit, like don't pass on his side of the floor, Kawhi. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't look him in the eye, Kawhi. Like that Kawhi, he's more closer to that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm like, man, people are, I mean, I don't think people are super on the Clippers because they know how they're winning, but I think the scary thing about the Clippers right now, too, is they figured out their pecking order. We didn't know how it was going to work out, but they figured it out. Like, no, Kawhi's the guy. That is Paul George. Then Harden's setting everybody up, and he's the third guy, and then everybody else falls where they may. You know what I mean? And the way they're playing, it's like, yeah, Kawhi's like, and Paul George is nice. He's always nice, but Kawhi is that guy. As long as he doesn't get hurt, man, the Western Conference is going to be I can't wait for the playoffs already. There's going to be a lot of late nights, Batch.
Yeah, you're right. No, it's okay. I'm about to switch the schedule up anyway, so
yeah.
I think I'll be okay. But I got a sleeper player for you though.
Who's that?
Derek White.
Derek White or Kobe White? Derek White. I'm sorry, Derek White. Yeah.
From Boston.
Yeah, he's been really solid.
He should have been the reserve for the All-Star game.
Everybody says that. What is his stats? So I guess it's one of those things where it doesn't really matter because he's been playing so well.
Well, he's averaging 15. I'm gonna round it up. He's 3.9 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 1 steal, and 1.2 blocks.
It's basically all the intangibles he's been doing, and his shooting splits are really good too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's solid, man. He's not getting enough credit.
Yeah. He's arguably been better than Holiday.
Yeah, I can say that.
Yeah. Not to knock Holiday, but like he's been solid. Like Derek White's been really good. And I think it's more intangibles like people have been saying like he should have been in the All-Star game, but I'm with it. Like I like him too. Like he's been really good. Like Boston is because of their past history, I'm kind of like, and the fact that they love to shoot so much threes, I'm still not 100% confident in them yet.
What?
And don't get me wrong. What they're doing is, I'm not saying it's fluke. They're a legit team. The talent is not the problem. My thing is, the way they seem to always flame out in the playoffs is one thing. I just need to see it, and then the second thing too is, Porzingis gets hurt, man. I'm like, I've been saying this from the beginning of the year. I just need to see it. I just need to see the full season where Porzingis is healthy. They get through a long playoff run because he always gets hurt. And he's been pretty healthy so far. He's had some injuries too. But Boston's trying to play until June. Can Porzingis last until June? Because if he doesn't, this team changes.
I think so. They're still not playing
in that.
Yeah, they're still not playing him on back-to-back. So. And the same thing with Horford. It's like they alternate. So, and then they just made that pickup with Tillman. So
yeah, which is a solid pickup.
I don't know, man. Boston, I got them coming out of the East.
Yeah, I mean they should. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they make it out. But I'm just like, I'm still like, okay, let me see how they look. As long as they're healthy, I agree with you. But it's just
Unless you're pushing Jaylen Brown to the left every single time. I'm sorry. I don't even know where that even came from, man. I never even noticed that he didn't go left like that.
Oh, last year? Yeah, I didn't know it was that bad either until the Miami series. I know it was that bad. Well, I mean, props to him for doing the dunk contest, even though he shouldn't have been in the dunk contest, but at least props for an all-star to be doing it. I give him props for at least doing it. Because most guys in this position aren't even thinking about it. So at least he did it. But goddamn, do some better dunks, man. Like that one with having Kai Kinnett or whatever his name is, or Sinet, whatever his name is, sitting on the chair. That was terrible. Like that was terrible. That was awful. That was awful. He didn't even do the D Brown dunk. Like.
He did after he landed. He put I was like, what was that? I said, wait a minute, did he do the deep brown? No, he didn't do the deep brown.
It looked like he did the dab. That's what it looked like. It looked like he dunked and then tried to dab the crowd. I know what he was trying to do, but that's what it ended up looking like. Oh man! Before we wrap up, though, man, let's quickly knock out our award winners, or at least our updated award winners for at least the second third of the season. Do I have everybody up here? Okay, most improved right now. Who's your leader for most improved?
Ooh, most improved.
Tougher category than you think.
You know what? I'll give that one to Kobe White.
Oh man, wow! You just stealing. Just all right, okay. So you just looking off my phone. Okay, all right.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm the same. Just based on opportunity, I thought this was just like when the way he was playing this year. I thought, okay, he's just on a hot streak, but he's proven now that this is the level, and he's not even in a contract year. He's actually in the year one of a 3-year deal. So for the stats that he's putting up, the shooting splits and the stats that he's putting up, he's averaging like 20, basically rounding it off, but he's averaging 20, 25 and 5, right? And he's shooting really well from the field. So based on that alone, his right now his contract, I would say, is probably like one of the better bargains in the sport. He's $12 million a year. He's giving you 25 and 5 as a point guard.
But see, Chicago, they had expectations for him to be this player from before, though.
Right.
He just wasn't doing it.
Right. But he did figure it out, though. Yeah, he's shooting basically 46 from the field, 40 from 3, 82 from the line. Like, this is a solid player, man. Like,
yeah, don't you have him on your team?
I sure do.
Of course you do. Man, what the heck is this?
I sure do. I sure do.
I could have sworn I threw you a trade.
For
I may have canceled. I said you ain't even. You're not even gonna look at it anyways. Anyways, let's get back to where the main important thing about this.
Okay, coach of the year, or at least the coach for at least 2/3 of the season. Who's your coach of the year so far?
You know what? Coach, I don't know how to say his name. Dude from OKC. I'm gonna give it to him.
Oh, is it Vigneault? No, not Vigneault. Dagno. Sorry.
That's it. Yeah. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, I can't knock that. I give it to Chris Finch right now.
Finch.
Yeah, best record in the West, best defensive team in the league. You know, it's funny, like going back on Cat for a second, like the strippiness that he was talking on I forgot was it Pat Beverly's somebody's podcast he was on, and he was talking about how they're running the play-in, like when they won the play-in against the Clippers was better than Denver winning the chip last year. All the strippiness that he was talking.
Oh man!
One of the comments he made was that like they ain't afraid of Denver and they can make a real run. Like we laughed at it this summer, but he might be kind of right on at least that one, because they actually match up pretty well with Denver. They got the size. They got the size to match up with Denver. So it's and honestly, they gave Denver a lot of trouble, even though it was a 5-game. I think it was a 5-game or 6-game. No, it was a 5-game series. But in those games, like they didn't really get blown out. Like they gave them some fits. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But for right now, I'm like, okay, I might have to give them at least that one. Everything else was stripping this, though. Those pure stripping this. But but at least that was like, okay, I might be able to rock with that one. Okay. You know what? Defensive player of the year.
Ooh, man. Defensive player of the year. Yeah. That's a tough one. I might have to come back to that one.
Okay, six man. Let's go with 6 man.
Ooh, that's another tough one. I say Malik Monk right now is doing it.
Damn it. Stop, dude. You fuck off. You're looking at my phone.
Nah, Malik, he had a stretch where he kind of slowed down a bit, but I say Malik Monk.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Then you have, I don't know, Utah's weird, man, because they had a good team from last year. They didn't really make too many crazy changes, and yet they're not playing the same way. I mean, they just got rid of Olenek and whatnot, but
yeah,
I feel like they're still a better team. And then you have Jordan Clarkson still there, and I feel like he could be that 6-man candidate as well. So, man.
Yeah, I got Malik Monk. But I basically have him in there not just because he's a good candidate. I just wanted to show a king some love, just based on his teammates getting snubbed out of the All-Star game. I don't understand how. I mean, the West is tough, but how does LA have 2 players? The Lakers have 2 players in the All-Star game, and they're in 9th, and the Kings have both their best players sitting at home, and they're in 5th. One guy's almost averaging a triple-double. The point guard's averaging 29 a game. None of them made the All-Star game? It's crazy.
Oh, you said Sacramento's in 5th?
Yeah. Let me check again. But last I remember they were in 5th. They might be. They dropped now. They dropped the 8th. But prior to their bit of their swoon, they were still like, they were right there. They were like, yeah. I think they lost a few games to drop down to 8th. But again, at least at the point that I was making, maybe about a week or so before the All-Star game, they were like 5th.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're 5th. Like Sabonis is almost averaging a triple-double. He's averaging like 8 assists. He's like 20, 13, and 8.
But see that's Sabonis though. He's been doing that.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, yo, like that's why I'm giving Malik Monk some love, It's a lot to do with that. Even though he's having a good season where he can win this 6-man award. You know what I mean? But like, especially when Fox has been hurt and stuff, like he stepped up. Especially his playmaking. He's averaging like 5 assists a game. I don't think he's that has to be a career high for him. That has to be a career high. All right, let's go back to the Defensive Player of the Year.
I mean,
before you steal mine, is Gobert for me. Before you steal mine,
See, I had Gobert, but I was like, is there anyone else that I'm missing right now? And you know what? No, there's not. I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one.
Okay, yeah, and it's funny because with Gobert, like I feel like I'm hoping he doesn't get exposed in the same way because I felt like he got blamed a lot for what happened in Utah, especially in the playoffs. But I thought part of it was because none of his other four teammates can keep their guys in front of him. They would spread them out, and then they kept breaking down their man, and then he would come and help, and then his man would get exposed. But I think Minnesota, because of their size and the way they play defensively, I think they're going to have a better shot, especially in the playoffs, if they try to do that, keeping their guys in front of him. So it's not going to expose him the same way. You know what I mean? Because I thought it was almost unfair the way he was getting blamed for that because like Mitchell and those guys, they just couldn't keep their man in front of him. But right now, again, he's a leader of the defense, of the best defense in the league. Like he should have been an all-star too. I mean, mind you, he really would have not played in that all-star game because they don't play defense. So it's probably better he stayed home. But but like, yeah, I mean, right now, like, yeah, he's second in. I think he's second in rebounds, 8th in blocks. Like he's a leader on the defensive side, man. So I got to give it to him. He's been, especially that game recently against the Clippers, man. He changed every shot in the second half, man. Like they came back and won, and it was like, but a large part of it was because guys were just afraid to come into the paint. You know what I mean? And then on pick and rolls, you couldn't abuse him the same way. Like he's been really good this year. All right, man. Rookie of the Year. Let's see if we have some. Let's see if we have some opposing opinions on this one.
I'm gonna give it to Wemby.
Oh, okay, fine. You came over to the dark side or the good side. You came over to the right side. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give it to Wemby because he's doing this on limited minutes. So that's the most impressive thing about it. And then what he did to the Raptors the other night. Oh my gosh, it's disgusting.
We talk about the Raptors one.
Yeah, like we had 10 blocks. At one point, he had 7, and all of a sudden, it just shot up to 10. I'm like, oh, man, should I be surprised about that? But the way he was playing, they had no answer to that guy. And that guy, he's different, man. 7'6", he was like a guard.
And don't get me wrong, I like Chet. I'm not hating on Chet. Like Chet, I like Chet. I like the contributions that he's had on this team. You know, like he basically does give a shit. He has heart. He has that dog in him. When him and Wemby play against each other, they're not feeling each other. I think that's also great. You know what I mean? But the leaps that Wemby's been making, like since we did the last podcast together, at least the first third of the season, he's kind of like Bambi. Remember the beginning of Bambi where like Bambi can't walk properly, and but that to me that was the first third of the season. Now he's starting to find his legs, and he's becoming more reassured now, even with his teammates playing the way that they're playing. And I think the fact that he's been around the league, you know what I'm saying? Like he's played everybody at least one time now. And I think with him, it's like, I don't know, like watching the Spurs game, I feel like he's kind of like the opposite. He's doing the opposite of what normal rookies do. Because I feel like during the year, it's like he would hit some walls in certain games, like the rookie wall in certain games, because I think that's probably the most games he's played in this amount of time. Like, how much games do the teams play in France? Like 1 game a week, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And he's probably played as much games as they've played already. You know what I mean? And but like right now, I think his confidence is overriding that his fatigue. And I'll be honest though, Batch, I've been saying, at least when the season started, I was saying like I think that he's going to win defensive player of the year before his rookie contract ends, and I feel like I'm wrong. I think he's going to win it by next season.
You think so?
I think so.
You got to win games. You got to win games for that though.
No, and that's the other thing I was going to say too. They got to win some more games, but put it this way, not to lean on the point against the Raptors because that shit was crazy, especially like that part where he blocked Scotty Barnes twice and started laughing up the floor. I'm like, man, like that. And then the shit with Grady Dick, that shit was hilarious to me. He made Grady Dick do an air ball layup. He tried to throw it up quick. He pelted that. Then he tried to throw it up again and pelted it right back. And I was like, I'm like, what the hell is, man, this isn't fair. But to me, I'm like, on top of that, I'm like, right now, especially if you're gambling, you see the steals and blocks category? If it's 3.5 on the Wembanyama, take the over every time. He was going to nail it every single time.
Wait, what?
You know the steals and blocks category when you're gambling, right?
Yeah.
Usually for him, the line is anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5. I'm saying whenever it's 3.5, take the over every single time. Just take it.
I didn't even know it was that bad.
Yeah, just take it. Especially when you see it's like negative, minus 120, minus 130. Like when you see that, just take it, and it's guaranteed money.
I don't know, man. Last time you said that was Zion not getting over 5 rebounds, and that man ended up with like 8 rebounds next game.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I'm sorry for that. But he still gives you. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I can't explain that one. But but honestly, like it's like anytime he gets that, like case in point, I think against the Raptors he was 3.5, and I'm like, I took the over, and he got 10.
Put it this way:
he got he got 11 because he also had a steal in that game.
Okay, anybody that plays against the Raptors, play the over. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're trying to tank right now. It seems like, and that's okay. I mean, the rebuild was it's necessary. They got to go through the rebuild. I just wish it was a better rookie class coming in, but it's needed. They had to do this. The one thing I'll say though already, because I think right now he's probably top 3 at the very least in terms of most intimidating players to play against defensively. Guys are still trying to figure him out, but you see when guys are driving to the basket and he's around, they're like, huh. Like you can see like the hesitancy to even try to fake a shot, much less take it when he's around.
You really have to. You got to put those Steph Curry type footers up.
Oh yeah, and get it up fast. You can't even like play around with that. Like if you're gonna take teardrops, you gotta do it quick because he's getting to them shots fast. So it's like it's faster than like a Gobert. Like Gobert is gonna wind up and take a little time. He'll get there, but it's gonna take a little time. Wemby's getting there in the blink of an eye. But everybody remember though too that Ralph Sampson kind of started off like this too. You know what I mean? So and he started getting in like his injury history after that. So you got to also protect Wemby at all costs too. But with that said, I'm like, yeah, I actually, even though that team is shit, I'm watching pretty much every game until the season ends, for at least for the Spurs.
Yeah?
Yeah, just for Wemby, just because I love watching the progression. Like he's just getting better every game.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Last thing before we go, MVP.
Huh? You want to know something crazy?
What's that?
Well, actually, no. Right now, I would say Shea right now.
Okay.
But I'm not going to. I'm giving that to Tatum.
Whoa! What?
Yeah, I'm giving that to Tatum.
Wow! You? Wow! I thought you were gonna beat me over the head with Jokic.
Oh no! He's no. Joker is Joker, but the thing is though, they're not really winning games. They're winning games, but they're not winning games the way they should be.
Yeah.
So I can't give it to him right now. But the person I gotta give it to right now is Tatum. He has managed to play alongside, well, I shouldn't say he's managed to play alongside, but he's learned to play with Jaylen Brown, letting him get his shots off, distributing when he needs to distribute, scoring when he needs to score, defending when he needs to defend. Man, his game is solid.
Yeah, he's tough. He's really tough. I can't give him the MVP, but he's the best player on the best team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like So that's when he watches games. Like I don't watch a ton of Boston games, but like sometimes I'm like, man, watching him play, I'm like, man, this guy's so smooth, man.
Yeah.
It's
hey,
so
man.
smooth.
he really loved Kobe because that game, man, the way he plays, it's scary, man. It's scary. And I think he just came out talking about, man, he said, I'm about to be the face of the league when LeBron's done.
Yeah, he's saying he's the best player in the league right now.
Come on, man. I mean, he got that Kobe mentality.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay, man. Like I think, some people have said that like he's taking punishment for their team kind of flaming out in the last couple of years and such, right? Like he's kind of taken he's getting the knock for it now in terms of not getting enough MVP votes and stuff. So I mean, he's a worthy candidate for sure. I mean, I'm going to go with the Joker. I want to pour out a little liquor for Joel Embiid because I thought he was a clear-cut MVP of the season before his injury went down. I feel for him because, like, honestly, the way he was playing, like, I've been trying to convince you. Convince you, but I'm like, yo, honestly, watching him play, I'm like, it's the most efficient 35 points that you see in a while. That's not including three-pointers. Like he's barely shooting threes. The 35 points he's getting a game is easy. Like it is effortless how he's getting the 35. And whoever's not on his level, like the bigs that are like all-stars and stuff, he's beating them. And the guys who are below that, he's just destroying. Like he's annihilating those guys. Like any guys that are not all-stars, he's getting like 45 and 20 and just like it's a joke. So that's why I'm like I felt bad for him that he got hurt because to me it was like I think he was a runaway MVP.
Yeah.
So I feel for him. And Shea, like I'm gonna give a nod to Shea too because I think there's a chance that especially if they walk away with the best record in the league, for example, or in a conference, he might have a real shot too. He's gonna have a real shot too because his stats are amazing. It's better than it's better than Tatum's. You know what I mean? Like
what?
His stats are better than Tatum.
Actually, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, he's that dude, man. So I mean, I hope he wins it. It'll be great to see him win it, but I think right now it's probably Joker and I think Denver's gonna make that run too. So he's gonna kind of solidify it because they're only like 3 games behind in the West. Like they can, they're gonna. I think they're gonna catch up to those teams too. All right, so but let's wrap this up, man. Thank you for for another edition, man. We got to come back and do the final third at the end of the year.
No doubt.
All right, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Man, appreciate you too, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you once again for checking out the latest edition of the Ave Podcast. Special shout out goes out to Anthony Batchelor, aka Mr. Hoffa. Congratulations once again on your Hall of Fame induction to Durham College for all the work that you did in the basketball program. Amazing. Hand claps for you, sir. With that said, once again, we'll be back next week with a new episode, which should be pretty entertaining, I would think. I'm already looking forward to it. We're going to be breaking down the 20th anniversary of college dropout, plus more topics surrounding that album and that figure. So I'm already looking forward to it. It hasn't been recorded yet. Will be recorded early next week. So that should be quite entertaining. Please look out for that one. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Hit the 5 stars, please, and thank you. All the 5 stars, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5. If there was 6, I'd tell you to hit 6. But hit the 5 at least for now. Do me that solid, all right? Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts once again. And you can go check out SouthShoreAve.com for the catalog. Once again, that is SouthShoreAve.com. State of the Raptors address will be out in a couple of weeks from now. So please look out for that one as well. And stay tuned for more episodes coming down the pipeline. All right? For Anthony Batchelor, this is Kyle C. And you just tuned into the latest episode of the Ave Podcast right here on South Shore Ave Radio. All right, until the next one. Peace. We out.